giving you a voice,
making it loud our own way.
Welcome to the fun.
Welcome to FTC Recap, where you get the breakdown and discussion on what's going on in the FTC community. From First Updates Now, I'm Ishan. Joining me is Abbas.
Joining us today on the show are Jack, the captain of Barker Greybacks, and Jester, the coach of Barker Greybacks. They held the world record for ultimate goal earlier this season and had an incredibly optimized robot. Barker Greybacks ranked first in the December FTC Top 25 and was first in their National Australia Championship. If you have questions for them, make sure to tag us in the chat with the handle @FirstUpdatesNow. Ishan?
Yep, so just to get started, you guys are sitting next to each other without masks. I know you're being perfectly safe. Could you talk to us a little bit about COVID in Australia and how you guys are handling that?
Sure. We're quite blessed here in Australia. They closed the borders pretty early in all this process, right? So we are basically COVID-free right now, so we can hang out with no masks and come to school normally since March last year, I think, or April, maybe May.
April.
Yeah. And it's all good. It's just like we hope that everybody can be soon in the same position.
Awesome. All right, to start us off with the headlines, let's get right into that. All right, FTC Team 16837, The Prickles, is holding a conference with representatives from the Female Quotient, a company that promotes gender equality, especially for women in STEM. The conference is from 4 to 5 Alaska time next Tuesday, and people can sign up by DMing them on Instagram or on Facebook. And they sent us this message on Instagram, which is why we got this information. So if you have any headlines that you think are important for the FTC community to hear, make sure to let us know. Any thoughts? I know there's been a big push for equality in STEM, and I'm really happy that these things are happening.
You know, I think it's really great that teams are taking advantage of the online resources we have available. I know this definitely isn't the first conference FTC teams have held this season, but I'm just excited to see, how they keep improving and how they get better. For some people who aren't in Alaska, it looks like the conference will be from 8 to 9 p.m. Eastern time, just as a note. Yeah.
Great. Want to go to the next one?
Yeah. So just 2 days ago, FTC Team 5064, Aperture Science, a familiar name in the community, ran their first official qualifier of the season. We already knew they were going to be good from their scrimmages, but just wow. In this video, 5064 was the first team to put 400 points in an official match this season, and their first match at that too. Right off the bat, I noticed they had a really large but thin shooter wheel, deviating from the standard 4-inch wheel that most teams are running. And most of the outside of their robots seem to be made of entirely commercial off-the-shelf parts with a lot of Go Builda. Any thoughts, Jack and Jester, especially with how your guys' robot is pretty much entirely custom, if not all?
Yeah, it looks pretty cool. Like to see 400 as well as like a big thing. Did the
No, it's nice. It's nice to see teams going over and over. I think FTC this year has been great because it's a competition that, because of the size, you can do online and do effectively, except for the randomization part that we kind of delay run. But it's been great to see other teams, and we expect these numbers to grow even more if we go up to champs, right?
Yeah,
I know they're running a similar design to you guys. From what we've heard, you guys have also broken 400 recently in practices.
Jack.
Yeah, so we've been kind of focusing on FRC at the moment. But yeah, with some more drive practice, we can definitely crack it.
Yeah, I think 400, the low 400s, is the bottom of where we are right now. We're going to hit at least 450 before the end of the season, and I think we'll get close to 500. All right, on to the next topic. This one I really thought this was cool because it was engineering in the real world, and it was kind of like Game Changers. Nike just released a new shoe made to be easy to put on and remove, yet still be secure. It's targeted primarily for people who may have lost their arms or are disabled in other ways, so you don't have to lace up the shoes. But I can totally see myself using these. These look really, really cool, and I'm so happy. This is engineering in the real world. Would you guys get these?
Yeah, I know. Usually I don't have any problems with my laces, but I know some of my friends definitely do. So maybe for them.
Maybe with different colors, I would get one.
Not as bright, or a more something that won't get as dirty.
Right. All right, on to the next headline. So recently, Ishan's old team, 9794 Wizards.exe, had their first competition of the season, featuring an all-wood outside, double intake, and extremely unique wobble goal mechanism. Wizards.exe just started the season off with a really high OPR, definitely placing them in the top 10 for now, according to my calculations. And just like 12.6.11 Technova, it looks like they feature a dual intake, with each intake being powered separately, if I'm correct. And, Jester and Jack, what do you guys think of that wobble goal mechanism? It looks like they carry it for the whole time and they grab it from the base instead of the stem, which we've seen pretty much every other team do this season.
It's like cardboard, right?
Oh, okay.
Yeah, it's all made out of wood. And
No,
you are
we
right.
We have a team in Australia that's called Cardboard. This was probably the third best robot in Australia this year that no one talks about it, but was a great robot. And they actually did the same. They grabbed from the base and it was pretty effective. There's a reason we grabbed from the way we grabbed. Jack can explain better, but
Yeah, do you want to talk about that a little bit, Jack?
Yeah, sure. So at the beginning of the season, we're unsure like how the rest would interpret the ruling around like launching the wobble goals. So like we designed our system around being able to like pick it up and like place it precisely, as well as like with like what level of precision would be required, because like some of it around like the boundaries was a bit unclear.
Yeah, makes sense.
Right.
I know they were really strict about what's considered launching, especially when it comes to the wobble goals, and so it's definitely safer to play it where you grab the stem. That way you can just release it and it falls straight down. All right, let me move on to the next topic. One of the old powerhouse teams, which I'm sure you remember, Jess, are Team 1717, the Penguineers. They had an amazing robot in the 2012 season, Rebound Rumble. And the same guy who made a miniature FRC Frisbee shooter that we featured at the beginning of the season, he made a miniature version of the 1717 robot. So the video is about to play with that. It had a fully functional swerve drive, a turret, and it's hard to tell the two robots apart aesthetically. So this is the robot that's miniaturized. It's got the two side intakes. It's playing on a baby basketball hoop, and it's got a shooter on it. Right there, you're going to see it take shots at the goal. I thought that this was just really cool, especially since it's such a legendary team from FRC. Any thoughts that you guys have?
For me, it's like this team is one of the best teams in the patch. Right? It was such a shame when they stopped doing FRC. I remember when they lost the last match in the championship, I was next to the field, just waiting for my match in the other field. And they lost, and because they lost, they got like the bad ranking position, so they couldn't go further into elimination because they're probably one of the powerhouses that year. But it's great that people are doing mini bots. Like we love mini bots. Everybody knows we did our first one in 2017, and it's great to see another 1717.
I'll just jump in here for a second. Yeah, for those who don't know, for those who know a little bit about FRC, how 254 is kind of known as the best team. 1717 was kind of the 254 before 254 became what they are, right? Like they weren't quite at that level, but they were really, really good, especially back in like 2012 and their last season in 2015. When they went out on that sort of thing, it was crazy. And there is actually a book. It's not talked about as much anymore, but The New Cool is a book that's actually written following the Penguineers and their processes and what they do and everything like that. So if you ever have an opportunity, it's a great read to see how teams are structured and how they run. But this used to be the Penguineers were actually a seniors only because it was part of a class. And that's the way that team worked on there. So it was very interesting because they had a whole new team every single year, yet still created phenomenal machines.
Yeah, and according to the chat, Pyong461 says that the miniature bot had a X drive, not a swerve drive. So I stand corrected there. I know the actual robot had a swerve drive, but it was a really, really cool to see the aesthetics be very similar. Want to move on to the next one?
Sure. So this past week, First finally made the Krista McAuliffe coin official, and it's now for sale at $69 per coin. And, after 2 to 3 years of work, it looks like it's finally gotten done. And one thing I did notice while reading the site was that First receives $10 from the purchase of every coin as a donation to further its mission. Any thoughts, guys?
That's a tricky one. I love the initiative. I just think this money could be transformed like in grants for teams.
Yeah, initially the bill that was written to do this said that the money would go to teams, and then halfway through the bill was adjusted to send the money to First HQ. And so while yes, I do love having a coin with First on it and Chris McCullough because it is a great cause, I do wish that it would go towards grants for teams to help improve STEM education instead of going to HQ where we don't know where it's going to be used.
I think a big question here to ask too is it's the price point on this. $69 US is pretty expensive. Now, it's not expensive for a commemorative coin. Need to point that out. And actually, the proof silver dollar, which is $74, I'm just going to bring up here. I actually did the math on this before. It contains about $29 US worth of silver in it. So price-wise on it it's not that outlandish, but do people have 74 US around just to spend on a coin? Some, yes. I think there's going to be plenty where that might be a pretty steep amount to purchase for something like that.
It would be nice to give to mentors at the end of the year, just to put an idea out there. Right?
I love that. I mean, maybe First will gift it. Oh wait, that probably won't happen. Never mind. So
they aren't even gifting volunteers.
They're not even gifting $10 to teams for grants. So thanks for watching. If you want more fun content, be sure to subscribe and ring the bell to be notified about our latest videos. Keep the conversation going and provide your input to our content. Watch our live shows at twitch.tv/firstupdatesnow. Join our Discord at discord.gg/firstupdatesnow. And check out Fun FTC on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. And First Updates Now on Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, and Twitter.